Hold on one sec. Unless you want to hear my kid's baby mom.
That's okay. David Walton, welcome to our chat today. You play Will Freeman on About a Boy, NBC's single cam sitcom. Tell us first of all, what draws you to Will? What do you love about him?
I like Will for a lot of reasons, but I think probably the thing that gets me the most is that Will, on the outside, sort of is this very selfish, very self-involved, immature guy who doesn't admit that he really cares about anything. But on the inside, he's slowly sort of waking up, and he's actually got quite a big heart that he doesn't really realize. So I've always liked playing characters that kind of show one thing but are something pretty different on the inside, or they don't even know it, and they're slowly kind of revealing the circumstances and the events around them reveal who they truly are, and that's sort of the journey of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. You do learn so much more about him as he interacts with his crazy neighbors, which we'll get to in a second. How familiar were you with the original book by Nick Hornby, and also obviously the Oscar-nominated film starring Hugh Grant and Toni Collette?
Yeah, so I'd seen the movie and I'd loved it when it had come out in 2002 or so, and then I read the book. Once I got the show, before I shot the pilot, I read the book and loved it, and that was my first Nick Hornby book, so he's so good, and I understood now why so many people love him. But
yeah.
And then I actively avoided the movie once before shooting the pilot because I didn't really want to be accused of stealing Hugh Grant's moves, although I probably should have. And I may, in this hiatus before season 2, maybe I'll take a look, find it. See if I can steal some
Maybe
things.
not. Maybe you shouldn't. Your Will is really different to the way Hugh portrays this character. It's I was really expecting it to be a very similar type of guy, but I think the writers, Jason Katims and yourself, have made him. I don't really know how to put it. How do you differentiate the two lead guys in the movie and the film, film and the TV show?
Yeah, I mean, the book, I don't actually remember how closely Hugh followed the character in the book, but I'm certainly younger than Hugh Grant was shooting that, and I know there was this kind of very obsession with cleanliness and kind of, and also I think music in particular, sort of was a passionate thing. And my character is younger. He's actually given up his music career for various reasons, but he's kind of scared to play. In its simplest terms, and so, and I'm American. So I think culturally the whole thing is a very different character, and we'll see. I think the cool thing about TV is that, the movie it was 2 hours and the story ends there. It was a beautiful story, and the book kind of ended there too. And now we get to kind of play and develop and go in all sorts of new, fun, cool directions.
Yeah, that's obviously the beauty of TV, the longevity, and you guys can really delve into these characters. Tell us how you became involved in the project? Were you aware of Jason Katims' work, obviously, and tell us about working with him as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I was aware of Jason because my wife's first show and his first show is called Roswell, and she had always said what a genius he was, and then I had loved Friday Night Lights and also Parenthood. So he's sort of one of these showrunners in Los Angeles that is sort of the creme de la creme. And so when the project came along, I was developing something for CBS that didn't get made into a pilot. When that fell through, this one popped up, and I sort of jumped on it and got incredibly excited. It had Jon Favreau directing it. It was Jason Katims' first entry into the comedy world, and it seemed to have a really original kind of balance. It went for, emotional resonance and real kind of a powerful moment, which is pretty rare for a comedy. And I love that. I think my favorite thing to do is play scenes for real and kind of have the funny kind of surprisingly come up and not be really hard jokes or anything like that.
Yeah, nothing forced really. It's just funny because the characters just happen to be funny.
Yeah.
But you touched on obviously other projects that haven't come through, and I usually ask this with actors like yourself who have really broken out with a particular role. Like you've become so much more of a known quantity now that your show has become successful, and it's now going on to season 2, which is fantastic for everyone involved. But it goes with the territory, right? That as an actor, especially on network TV, big time network TV, there are going to be lots of shows that don't make it. And how difficult is that to go through the grind until you finally find that project that kind of hits that nerve and actually makes it through to another season?
It's difficult. I mean, everyone goes through it, I think. I don't think anyone's immune to it, the disappointment. And, in movies, TV, it's all the same. Plays, you spend months, years developing something and falling in love with it and trying to get it made, and then it kind of, like that, it's just gone. It's just what you've signed up for. It can be brutal and emotional, but at the end of the day, we're all in it because we love it and want to do it. And when the success does happen, I mean, when I got their call that we had a season 2, I let out some very embarrassing war screams that I think really disturbed the neighbors.
That's good though. I mean, it's got to be nice to get that kind of news, and obviously you're also getting really good feedback. The show is really well received, and now it is in the running like lots of other shows in the comedy category at the Emmys coming up. The ballots were just released today, and About a Boy is obviously all over it. So let's talk about that for a while. Obviously, Gold Derby, we are awards nerds, and that's what we want to talk about. So if you are nominated in the comedy actor category, which is definitely a possibility, it's there's a few guys obviously in the running there. You have to choose your favorite or highlight episode. I'm not sure if you've had this discussion with NBC yet or people at the studio, but you got to pick your best episode. Have you given that any thought at all?
I haven't. I'll start thinking about it now, I guess. I have some favorites. I would have to go back and look to see if it was because I thought I did a good job or whether I thought everyone else did a good job. But yeah, no, I have a couple favorite episodes that I hope that I would. I just think people like to watch good programming, and if they kind of lose themselves and stop thinking about anything other than the story and they're caught up in it, then you've done your job.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about some specific elements in the show. Firstly, I'm sure a lot of people want to talk to you about your chemistry, on-screen chemistry with Benjamin Stockham, who plays the boy in the title. Tell us about working with him, because he's really quite a revelation.
Yeah, he is. He's a really special talent. Really bright beyond his years. He's 13. And he's short. He's a little vertically challenged at the moment, but you never know. I think some changes are about to happen to this kid.
Yeah.
He could be 6'2" by the time we show up for season 2, which would be a problem, I think.
Yeah.
But he's just very good. Like, he's just got that raw talent that you can't quite put your finger on. He can make any line sound good. He's arguably got the toughest sort of lines and words to say, and he makes it all work, and he can hit the emotional stuff, and he kind of deadpans it beautifully. So we are incredibly lucky. We read almost every kid in LA, I would imagine, and it really was a no-brainer when we saw Ben.
Wow, that's amazing. You guys, the way that I see you playing the relationship is so paternal, and as a dad myself, that's how I relate to the relationship. Is that what you draw on when you're working with him as a kid on the show?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I was surprised at how close they got so quickly. I was sort of expecting the first season to kind of really take its time. Like, Will starts off being like, "Get away from me!" Like, "Yeah, I like you, but like, come on." And by the end, it's almost like Will fully admits that he loves the kid and really cares deeply about him. So I think there's something really interesting or appealing in a show where a kid that doesn't really have a father finds one. I think it's an easy thing to hook into emotionally, and I guess having kids of my own, of course, helps, sort of play fatherly things. But it's hard because Will doesn't have kids, and I
Yeah.
think you don't want to overdo it. I like the idea of over the course of cross our fingers many seasons that the relationship between these two constantly deepens and evolves and gets to the point that you have when you do have a real child, a child of your own.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the other critical relationship to the show is your character's one with Fiona, played by Oscar and Emmy nominee Minnie Driver. She's a big name. It was really exciting to see her back on TV after her stint on The Riches a few years ago. We spoke to her a few weeks ago. Her character is hilarious and brings a lot of the laughs on the show. What's it like working with Minnie?
It's awesome. I mean, the thing with Minnie is like she's been a movie star for like the better part of 2 decades, and I sort of look at her and I think she's an amazingly talented, funny person. Season 2, I'm definitely going to start picking her brain more because she's literally worked with like everybody, and I think along the way, like I'm learning stuff from her, but I think she admits, that she's learned a lot from these amazing actors that she's worked with. So it's time for me to start mining her brain. So season 2, Minnie, if you're out there, I'm coming.
That's
I'm
it. You need to sit her in a corner and we just need to get some like interrogations happening. Get it out. You need to make use of it. Yeah, totally. Does it really irritate the crap out of you when people say, "When are they going to get together?" That must really. That's really stupid.
Man. It doesn't yet. I don't think we're ready for a long time. I don't know. It doesn't seem right, and I don't. I would imagine that we'll want to keep surprising people, and the minute that happens, I think the show would change in a not good way. So that's my 2 cents. Who knows what they'll do? I think they started writing season 2 today.
Oh.
So,
okay.
If they're out there watching, don't do it.
Don't do it. No, I think it's so much more fraternal and wacky. Like I love how the two characters have that kind of. It's not love-hate, but they really do work off each other beautifully. And it's certainly not romantic. But who knows? It's up to the writers. It's not up to you or me, I suppose. Now, what about Will's other romantic entanglements? Because when the show first started, he was kind of dating Leslie Bibb's character, and then there was a couple of others, and then Adrienne Palicki joined the show as a recurring character as Dr. Samantha. That was a really good addition, and now your character Will has moved to New York, which is really surprising. I didn't think that was actually going to follow through, but did. Do you know where that's going at all?
I don't. I honestly don't think they do. I mean, there's two choices really. We start season 2. I'm in New York, and I don't think we're going to New York. Or if I had to put money on it, I would say that we'll pick up and I'll be back, and then over the course of sort of clues laid down, the story of why I'm back would slowly reveal itself. But who knows? I was very surprised too when I read that script. Maybe we'll just web chat for the next 4 seasons.
Yeah, that'd be a really compelling series.
Just got a Google Hangout. Oh.
Yeah, the ratings will go through the roof. Sounds fascinating. Yeah, I'm not sure, but look, that's you never know. I was really surprised by that too, and I think that's going to open you guys up to a whole new set of scenarios, I suppose. But I guess it's hard to say what to look forward to because you don't know. But is there anything you would like specifically? What would be your dream storyline for Will going forward? Anything in particular that you can maybe press the writers to do?
I just like it when Will really runs up, like his life gets completely screwed. I like it. The more that goes wrong, the better for me. So I'd maybe like some horribly, funny but still horrible stuff to happen to him, because that's always the most fun, kind of everything blowing up in your face.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, you'd be a bit of a glutton for punishment, but you know, there'd be a lot of embarrassment. But why not? You know, you might as well just have fun with it, I suppose.
Yeah, no, I get to, it's all make believe, so.
Yeah, true. That's true. Well, thank you so much for your time today. Good luck for the upcoming Emmys. You never know what will happen, but About a Boy is certainly up there with a chance in many categories, and we wish you all the best and the show as well for season 2.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Stay warm.
We'll just let that